Hello boys and girls, friends, enemies. Travelling, worldly wise. And that's an interesting thought. Are you worldly wise? Now, I've travelled extensively, to say the least, and in such a way that I had to mix with the locals. Had a few years as a little kid in Germany. I've actually lived and worked in Austria, lived and worked in Jersey. As you know, driving trucks before the EU, when you still had to go through borders and do the paperwork, carnetiers and tank shines and all that sort of stuff. And some borders you'd get to wouldn't even have, 3 or 4 windows to go to, and they wouldn't even have signs in English. And we went everywhere with maps. No such thing as a twat nav. And you get somewhere like Greece or Turkey or anywhere, and you try and ask directions, and you employ sign language and gesticulation, and then you spend, in the lorry that is, you'd spend a night, 2 nights in a godforsaken little village in the middle of nowhere. So you go to the local canteens and restaurants, and sometimes they didn't even have a menu. You're supposed to know what they make, and they were grubby little places, and and growing up as a kid, we moved all over. So I become what I like to consider, rightly or wrongly, tell me if I'm wrong, worldly wise and well travelled. Now, yeah, you may have had a holiday every year somewhere in Lanzarote or Thailand or wherever you want to go. Does that make you world travelled? Because most holiday destinations, you're catered for in your language. An Englishman at a holiday resort in Cancun or Thailand, they want your money, so they'll speak your language. I'm not sure that makes you well travelled, just well holidayed. So, Navy Thomas 8, NT8, he's well travelled. When his ship docks, different ports in some pretty weird countries, I'm sure, they'd go ashore. And it was the days before everybody catered en masse. Excuse me, there's wind and asthma, not a good combination. So I'm talking about people who have been there and done there. I mean, my youngest Willow, the one travelling Europe in a van at the moment, she's been to Iceland, America, Australia, but she wandered off at the age of 15 to teach English as a foreign language in China. Now, she actually lived in a little village with the Chinese, having to not only teach English but learn Chinese. That's worldly travelled, that's well travelled. My 2 daughters from my first marriage used to come with me in the lorry, and if we were somewhere, Germany, Greece, didn't matter, Spain, they wanted something, I'd give them some local currency and they'd go off to shop themselves. I wouldn't go in and mollycoddle them. Age of 10, 9 or 10, give Chloe some Deutschmark and tell her to go in the shop and get some sweets, and she'd come out with what she wanted with a grin on her face, because she had to learn to communicate. And I think getting your kids to communicate is important, and it will carry it through as a life skill. My second youngest, Summer, she's been on holiday quite a few places like Thailand and whatever, and she trundled off to New Zealand and stayed there for a year working, and she worked on a farm, chicken farm. She loved that. And she worked in a supermarket, and then she got a job in her trade, which is electrical engineering. And when she left and came back, the company she was working for actually wanted them to go back as a supervisor. She's got all sorts of qualifications, not only in electronics and security, but she's also self-educated in management, health and safety. And I think travelling gives you a thirst for learning. So, are you well travelled? And what do you define as well travelled? I'm going to have to stop in a minute. My phone's going mad in my pocket. I can feel it vibrating. I have no idea who wants me, but having just left Doreen's, have I left something behind? Yeah, we'll find out in a minute. I've never been to Australia and I've never been to America. But if I do, Summer was talking about us going to America and driving Route 66. And I sort of said, well, I'd rather make our own route up, village to village, and see the real America, not the tourist America. And that's me. I hate this roundabout. You're never actually sure where people are going to go. I just like to get out of their way. Not in a hurry, I just don't like being trapped in between motorists that don't really know what they're doing. What the heck, you see? Not a clue. Starts in one lane and cuts the corner completely. If you're going up a roundabout, go round it in the lane you're in. I'm having a mumble, aren't I? Probably time to stop the vlog. How's it? Are you well travelled or are you worldly wise? I think there's a difference. Well travelled, been on lots of holidays. Worldly wise, mixed with the natives, and in a lot of cases had to find your own way. You've had to sort things out yourself. No backup, no Google, no sat-nav, eating meals with the locals, and that's worldly. And I think if you do it long enough, you become wise. I'm not sure. Do I define myself as worldly wise? I still haven't answered that question. I just think I am. sponsors on a postcard. God oil right up the middle, look. Nice streak of diesel. You know what to do. Stay happy. Smile at the miserable sods. Better still, tell them jokes, that really winds them up. And ride or drive safe. I'd like you to come back.